Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another Indie Game Friday, where each week I take a look at a different independent computer role-playing game. This time I'm taking a look at a relatively new release, at least as of this recording, Titan Shield. Developed and published by Stroke Applications, it was released on Steam on May 20th, 2019. Titan Shield is a single-player, team-based, tactical combat role-playing game involving moving from map to map, engaging in scenarios that are unlocked as the game proceeds. Between combats, you can level your party up, adjust your gear, advance your skills, and so forth. In terms of plot, you are a party bound toward Titan Hold and must face many fights and encounters beforehand. I guess that gets you into the fighting quickly. After starting the game, you are given an opportunity to adjust your difficulty level, but also your party size. The maximum party size is 4, but you can limit your party size further to receive additional bonuses to those characters that you actually use. When you create a character, you may select a name and a gender and then a class. There are 4 classes, each of which has 2 subclasses. Warrior has both discipline and brutality types. Rogue has stealth and insight. Wizard has void and magician, while cleric has champion and necromancer. Each subtype has access to different skill sets that can be upgraded with skill points. You may also pick an icon and a portrait, as well as distribute ability scores. The ability scores are Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Agility, Willpower, and Intelligence. The initial ability scores are randomly generated for each character, and then you may adjust points among them. When you hire additional party members later, you can re-roll their initial stats, but you have to spend fame to do so. Of those ability scores, Strength impacts melee damage, Constitution has an effect on stamina, Defense rating and hit points, Dexterity adjusts precision and range damage, Agility adjusts stamina, defense rating, evasion, and movement speed, Willpower adjusts stamina, defense, spell resistance, and mana, while Intelligence adjusts overall mana and how many skill points that you have. Skill points may be used to boost a variety of skills. There is a large group of weapon skills and weapon style skills, which certain classes may get free weapon points to spend on. And then there are general skills that you can use on general skills or weapon skills, which include either special combat moves or spells. Characters can have an overall level as well as experience. Once experience reaches certain tiers, you may level up, which grants you another skill point and additional boosts and stats, as well as an attribute point to distribute to any of your ability scores. Once past the initial character creation screen, you're dropped into the character management screen. Your party is represented by 4 hexagons under the current character's portrait. To add a member, simply click on one of the empty hexes, although additional members cost both gold and fame points. Gold and fame points are the general currency of the game, and both are gained by successful combat outcomes. Here you may adjust your character's skills as well as their inventory. Each character may equip 2 sets of each weapon and shield, then armor, 2 rings, a necklace, and 4 items in quick slots for during play. From this screen you may also open up the Merchant and Crafts tabs. The Merchant merely allows you to buy and sell gear. Upgrading the Merchant costs gold and will cause the Merchant to stock additional gear. The Craft tab allows you to combine items for better items. Once you're done here, clicking Continue takes you to the overworld map. The overworld map shows the area that you're currently in, as well as a series of encounters. At first, only one is available, but as you complete encounters and work through an area, more open up. Under the default difficulty, you may only go through each encounter once, but other difficulties allow you to revisit them to gain more gold, but at reduced fame. Keep this in mind during exploration, because there are often hidden treasures not related to the main goal, and it will be helpful not to leave them behind. Merely mousing over a particular encounter will display what to expect from that encounter, as well as give a background blurb on it. From this map, you may enter any open encounter by clicking on it on the map. You may also click on the In tab to return to character management. Once you enter an encounter, you're in the bulk of the game. You're presented with a hex map, which may be large enough to require scrolling in some cases. Each hex has terrain that costs various levels of movement, and each may contain other things, such as signs, treasure chests, or enemies. Play is turn-based, during which you may move any of your characters as you wish. In fact, you may begin a character's turn, switch to another character and take their action, and then switch back to the first character to complete their turn, which is useful for setting up specific attacks and combinations. Once your characters have no more options, you can click End Turn, and the enemies will all have their go in turn. Each character represented on screen shows where they can go with green arrows, red if they can't get there this turn, as well as a highlighted area showing what their currently selected ability can affect. Most melee weapons can generally only handle adjacent hexes, but spells and ranged weapons may have longer ranges. A list of available actions is on the right-hand side of the screen, which includes all of your skills and all of your activatable spells. Characters have hit points, which represents their health, mana used for spellcasting, stamina, which is used for pretty much everything, and then move, which is used for movement. All of them regenerate each turn to varying degrees. There's also an encounter victory condition outlined at the top of the screen, which is basically what you need to do to win. Any time after meeting the victory condition, this will change to a victory button, which you may then click to exit to the overworld map. As I mentioned before, you may not return to maps under some difficulty levels, so it can be important to thoroughly search each area. And searching may take a bit of time, since there's usually a fog of war that blocks out the map, and the combination of terrain types means that you may need to backtrack quite a bit to get around to certain areas. So that's basically the main cycle of the game. Pick an encounter, fight an encounter, return to the overworld, manage your party, rinse, repeat. If anyone is slain, you may spend gold and fame to resurrect them, but the limited number of fame points may mean that you can work yourself into a corner situation where there's no one alive and you don't have enough resources to actually res anyone. Graphically, the game is rather simplistic, with a top-down hex-based view that sits squarely in the middle of the road as far as indie game graphics go. It's not necessarily lo-fi, but it is pretty much primitive in terms of hand-drawn stuff. The interface is like something out of the late 90s, so take that as you will, while the music of the game is largely from online royalty fee sources, especially in Compotech. In fact, if you listen to a lot of internet stuff, you're probably going to hear some familiar Kevin MacLeod tunes right off the bat in this one. However, considering the size of the team developing this one, I can excuse that. In terms of gameplay, it's certainly challenging, and barring some interface and quality of life issues, it's actually pretty engaging. At least if you enjoy turn-based tactical RPG combat. I honestly couldn't get much into the story as it was presented, but that's probably of secondary importance, at least at first. I will say that I did have some issues with the interface, as well as some things that just weren't as straightforward as they could be. Even switching between characters during combat could be an issue at times, at least if I had my mouse parked in certain areas. The turn-based nature of the game is great, but it can be a pain exploring a larger map character by character. I kind of wish there was some sort of auto-follow mode or something, even if it got disengaged during combat. The game also seems to offer only limited display options, basically displaying in a window or in full screen, which can stretch things out in some resolutions. None of this is game-breaking really, but there is a little bit of room for improvement. Fortunately, it seems that the dev is pretty active, at least as of this recording, in terms of addressing issues. Indeed, I think there was at least one patch, maybe two, from the time I recorded footage for this review and the time I got to script it. Overall, for a budget, tactical fantasy combat title, it is very workable, and while challenging, it isn't nearly so challenging as some of the games that I've seen try to do similar things. All in all, I actually do recommend this one for people who enjoy the genre. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, I'll put a link to the store page in the description below. This has been the RPG Crawler with Indie Game Friday Titan Shield. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content, both tabletop and computer. Until next time, take care and goodbye.